Hey guys, I'm Julie. I played at YCS Raleigh and I got day 2 with Ghoti, the Fish Boys, and we're here at the Oceanographic Center in Jensen, and we're just having a good old day. So I figured I'd do my deck profile up here. Sorry for the wait. So let's get into it. So for hand traps, I mean, we just ran like the standard 3 Ash because I figured that I would face a lot of Branded this weekend. I was completely wrong. I only faced 1, but it did come in handy with other matchups. Nibiru, I only ran 2. It needed to be a crossout target, but it's also like pretty good. A lot of people didn't have it, especially with Savage and Baron being gone. It's pretty good. Veiler, I thought this was fine at 2 of, and then Ghost Ogre, this was an MVP. I actually killed a lot of people's field spells and stuff like that after they would use their effects or their continuous. So I really like Ogre, and I think it's going to be good for the next format. 3 Tuna, because we run 1 for 1. And if people are ashing this and you have other plays, like you're just winning the game. 2 Leaf Fish, just because 5 normals. And then 3 Abyss Shark. Best card, I swear. No one knows what this card does. And when you reveal it and you're like, oh, okay, effect. And they're just like, can I ash this? And then they freak out and then you're just like, cool. This also searched me a Silent Wabi at some point because I got slow played. But yeah, my opponent ashed the Tuna, so I said, oh, cool. Special summon Sardine, effective Abyss Shark search Wabi, and they would call time in the round, and I'm like, cool. And then my opponent just got really confused reading Wabi. Then 1 of Silent Angler. I think this is fine. You know, it just helps sometimes. Though the fish sporgs are going to make things different. For the actual fish stuffs, 1 of each Tuner, 1 Keef, 1 Seeks, and 1 Snopios. Seeks in the standby with the Marincess is kind of really dumb. No one understands what this card does. This targeting anything that for the fire decks, I targeted someone's Ash, I've targeted an Oak, I've targeted different things. My opponents keep trying to send all of their stuff for cost when I target something with this, and I keep telling them you can't because it's a cost, and they still try to do it. So this card's deceptively really strong. Everything else is, you know, standard. I didn't want to run too much stuff. True. So then this was the craziest part of this weekend, I would say, because this won me games against Floo. This also won me games when I had to swing over multiple things, and they had a bigger monster than Orwell, so I would like swing into small thing, swing into big thing, crash it, special summon back, and then just like attack more, but also wipe their board. The amount of times that I activated the effect of Sardine, and people were like, huh? And I would reach for my deck and I would say like, cost. And they're just like, what do you mean cost? And I'm like, cost.
Puts the ash back in hand. Never mind them.
Yeah, people did not understand that. It's the same thing with anything with the Ghotis, because whenever I would banish, people were like, can I ghost bell this? Can I bell this? I'm like, no, you cannot.
It's all cost, buckos.
If it's cost, you cannot. So the White Aura stuff performed great though. Got a lot of combos out of it. 3 cross out, important in this deck. When siding, I would side out 1, or I would side out all of them if I was going second, depending on the matchup. The amount of times I would end phase after like being afraid of Nibiru, they wouldn't have it, and I would end phase call the last name I was missing, and my opponent just kind of looked at me like, are you insane? Why are you banishing your own card? And then they read it and they said, oh, never mind.
Negates this turn. Next turn? No.
Yes. So then we got 1 for 1 called by Gold Sark and 2 talents, and that finishes up the spells. 1 for 1 was really good. Sometimes I would side it out against shifter decks, but more or less, I think I only got shiftered once this weekend, so I just made like a Dragite Bubble Reef board, and I just like sat there and I was like, cool, sick. Talents went crazy, Sark went crazy, called by, I don't think I ever drew it this weekend, I'm not gonna lie. And then triple Imperm, because with Snake Eye Ash running around and other things that you just need to like hit, it's just good. And it doesn't put you in risk of talents. For the extra deck, 2 Arianthos, 2 Ascon, and 2 Deep Beyond. The synchro climbing into this is just like really fun. I personally like summoning this back sometimes with Keef and stuff like that, and then just going into other things because it's just big boy. This one, kind of fools people because they don't realize that when it's banished, you summon it back. And then they get really confused when I just keep making chain links. And there was at some point my opponent said to me, and I quote, "Are you done yet? This is my turn." And
We're never done.
Got really angry at me, and I was just like, "No, I'm not done, and you can deal with it." And then Deep Beyond, I actually I played against a Raidraptor opponent. I summoned 2 Deep Beyonds and a Changying, and the guy kept playing, and I was like, alright, I guess so. If you can play through double Deep Beyond, Changying, plus like all of my other stuff, like, I guess. The White Aura, I know a lot of people aren't running this, but it actually came up, but this one special summons back the Sardines, this one wipes the board. Remember, this is a when, so don't mess up that.
Zep is your best summon.
Yeah, this is like so stupid though, because I would summon this back, and then I would just like, I'm summoning this back with this, and then people were just like, I have to get through 2 walls? Great. And then this with Reincarnation just wipes boards. No one really knows what it does. It's great. Dragite and Changying, important for first turn setup, important for certain matchups. This came in clutch against a lot of decks that needed recursion, and they just couldn't. And then 1/1/1 got me out of some situations. People, unironically, people would hit my Seeks more than they would hit my Anemone, which was crazy because they would be on the board, and my opponent was like, I don't know what to banish with Fenrir. I'm going to banish the Big Fish, and I'm like, already set up, everything's in my graveyard, I don't need anything else, every name is in my hand or my banished or my graveyard, and I'm like, cool, F. And they just said, oh, it's not just the turn it's summoned. I'm like, no. And then this card also made everyone read. I actually swung at someone with a like 6,000 plus damage Bubble Reef, and they just kind of went, why is this thing so big? And I'm like, mandatory, it's big. And he got really upset. And
Every time a face up, and not once per chain either.
No, it's not. And then the one of Stealth Kraken, because haha funny time card, but also because it changes everything. And I actually, the case tournament before Raleigh, I ended up summoning this against a dragon player, and he's trying to summon Chaos Angel, and I'm like, it makes things water, and he's just like, everything is water? And I'm like, yes. And it's also non-targeting.
My favorite interaction is Promethean Princess.
Yeah, no, people actually don't understand how strong this card is, so... Anyways, my sideboard of choice was Thrust, Storm, Duster, Deep Barrier, Evenly, and Dark Ruler. Honestly, I couldn't think of like other things to put in at the moment, and there were some changes I wanted to make before, but these ended up being fine. I actually never used this one, or this one. All of my matchups were pretty much just like whatever. The Deep Barrier came up against the one branded player I played against, and that's about it, because every other deck I played against was just random. And by random, I don't mean it's like random, I mean it's just like I didn't ever find the need to side this in, or the matchup would be 2-0. So it just wasn't needed.
You also lost a lot of your dice rolls.
I lost almost every die roll, actually.
And you won almost all of them.
Yeah. And then 2 Cyclone, good in the format, good for Floodgates. Triple Judgment, Triple DD Crow, MVP of the weekend, and my favorite boy, the Wobby. The Wobs.
The gracious card.
The amount of players who would look at this as I would summon it after they ashed me or they used something, I remember I got Ash double impermed, and I just went, cool, F. And they just looked at me, they read it, and they were just like, what is this? I actually, the case tournament, I summoned this on a striker player, and I just gave it to him, and he said, I don't have a way to get rid of this fish. How do I play my deck? And I said,
you don't.
Multiple areas, 0, summon a monster, like that's all you got. And he's just like, I am not normal summoning it. Like, I can't normal summon anything in my hand. And I'm like, well, tough. So, that's cool. But yeah, more or less the deck performed well. I think that there's a few things I would change if I were going into Raleigh again with the same list before Legacy, but more or less it's it's good, and I think that all of the extra stuff we're getting, like the Fishborg Harpooner title, some other support things, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. And
Fishborg's really gonna change the deck.
Fishborg is insane. Also, the one who's recording right now, Joe, he's the one who taught me and like helped me with everything, and he likes Royal Swamp Eel, but I didn't run that.
Because we only knew one person who had one,
Yeah.
and I got it.
Yeah, and I didn't want to like change the list, but I thought this was fine. But shout out to my friends, all my boys in Raleigh, my best friends. I'm not gonna list all of you. You know who you are. And shout out to the Fish Boys in the Facebook. But yeah, I think all this was really fun to play. And everyone who said that I wasn't going to play this deck, like, I just proved them wrong. So
Almost top cut. Very proud.
very close, very close. Alrighty. Later.